Hello, this is AS Bushido. This time I thought I'd talk about the insurmountable concept of attempting to date, or even contemplating it when you have Asperger syndrome, autism, and social emotional PTSD, like me. As a single man with those conditions, the concept of dating feels like I'm attempting to climb Mount Everest with a fear of heights, wafer-thin clothing, and no equipment. I'm telling you, the concept of attempting to build a relationship in my situation is worthy of a book of its own. I have been thinking about it. I've already written a book, but I need help to format it. But when you're autistic, it's nigh on impossible to find genuine help, especially from my experience. The experiences I've been through are about as poetic as they are tragic. And you know what? I'm still nowhere near finding an answer to one of my biggest fears, and yet, at the same time, my salvation. Dating? Oh, the very thought of that word alone feels like utter oppression in my view. Yet I am indeed lonely. So I may hear you ask, how can you possibly be lonely, seeking companionship, if you hate the concept of dating? It's very simple to understand if you're in my situation. If you've listened to my previous video about having difficulty initiating conversations, I'm sure you may begin to understand even a fraction of my issues. Mind you, that's not even the whole issue. From my point of view, dating is not what you might think it is. It's not as if I want to remain single. In fact, it's far from it. Honestly, I want to find the love of my life, but how? In my experience, I've seen so much about the concept of dating. I've even read about it online. But whenever I do, it's an immediate turn-off. Why? Well, do you know what dating has in common with? You haven't guessed it yet? Really? In my opinion, dating is no better than a job interview. Find that surprising? Think about it. In a job interview, you're asked, what can you bring to the table? Are you a team player? Do you work well under pressure? Can you write an essay in under an hour? Well, what kinds of questions are you asked when you're in a date, especially for someone in my situation? Oh yes, where have you been on holiday? Did anything interesting happen to you on the weekend? Do you enjoy hanging out with your friends? Do you live alone? Just some of the highlights to give you an example. Now, maybe you might not understand what I'm referring to, but aren't they very similar in context? Let's analyze this a bit closer, shall we? Now, as for holidays, say for example, I have a lot of anxiety and I'm more familiar with an environment I can cope with. Let's say I've never been on a plane or ship. Let's say I've always loved to travel, but had never had the opportunity before. Might seem a bit odd to those who aren't in my position. Ergo, I'm being scrutinized, much like a job interview. I'm being compared to those who can just take off in an instant to anywhere around the world and feel like it's home. Then let's take the next question. Anything interesting happen to me on the weekend? I might go for a walk around my local lake taking photos, or trying to relax, playing video games, watching anime, or keeping track of what's happening around the world. Do they count? Perhaps. They'd probably be more interested in if I went to some noisy band festival concert or went camping out in the woods somewhere. I couldn't cope with noisy environments, and I've never been camping. I wouldn't know if I could even cope with it, never mind travel to unknown destinations, especially without a lot of preparation. Next question. Friends. Would it surprise you if I said I have no friends in my local area? No one I could travel to the pub and have a few pints with, or relax watching football with them. I'm not into sports myself. Or play some video games with. I have severe anxiety. I wish I did have friends close by. Over long distance, as a pen pal, maybe, but I'm talking about someone I can meet up with on a regular basis. I wish I had a wingman who could accompany me to meet single women, but alas, that's never happened to me. As for living alone, what if I said I'm a carer looking after my disabled mother? How about that? You think a single woman is going to understand that? Well, if she's compassionate, I guess. But there's no guarantee. Basically, I'm going to be scrutinized within an inch of my life to feel I'm being oppressed, which is not a setting I can feel comfortable and relaxed in. It's certainly not autistic friendly. What if I said I'd prefer getting to know a single woman as a friend and growing in that relationship into something romantic in time? once I've grown familiar and comfortable with her? What if I'd prefer the relationship develop naturally without the whole interview aspects of it? Can't we just start off as friends and develop that relationship? What's so strange about that? Isn't that something which can be accommodated? Believe it or not, the last time I tried to express my feelings, it took me over 6 years. But that was because I was already affected by social emotional PTSD. Didn't do me much good, but that wasn't because of me. A long and tragic experience, but perhaps another book-worthy topic. Anyway, it doesn't have to take that long. It just requires kindness, care, understanding, patience, compassion, love, and reassurance. Is that so much to ask for? Which brings me to the ultimate irony of them all. Dating websites and apps. Oh yes, I've tried them. A total and utter waste of time and a rip-off. But the thing is, where do I go to seek true love? There's no such thing as a friendship to true love website or app. It's dating or nothing. It's the only place where someone is more focused on seeking a romantic connection. Friendship to love is not a dating concept, yet it's something I wish I could find. Instead, I'm confronted by these atrocious websites and apps, whether it's either based on appearance or background and instant impact. If that wasn't bad enough, they even charge you before you can even read the messages sent to you, or even see who's looked at your profile and liked you. Even when I paid, the experiences I've had where I tried to send a message, either receiving no reply, or when I respond, they cut off from me completely. I'm an in-depth writer. I like messaging one-to-one. I'm not an instant impact kind of person. I can't just say, oh, let's go out and meet at the nearest pub or other noisy environment. Won't it be fun having so much anxiety I can barely think straight? So, even if I could afford to pay for the dating apps and or websites, there's no guarantee it would lead to what I'm seeking. A true connection based on friendship growing naturally into romance. With my kind of situation, I'm sensitive. I need to proceed with caution for my own safety. I'm sure there must be others who could understand from their own points of view. You'd probably feel the same way about me. And that's your right. But it's the same for me too. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now.